Hey everyone, it's Nadia from YARNutopia. Today we are making this lovely poinsettia flower. It is in 4 layers, so we are going to be making it from the bottom up, working in layers. And the supplies we need today are all Red Heart yarns. I'm just using Red Heart Super Saver. You can see the label here. I'm not using a whole lot. I have a jumbo yarn ball, but actually I didn't use very much yarn. This could be a scrap project. It doesn't use a whole lot of yarn, but I am using Red Heart Super Saver yarn. It is size 4 medium worsted weight, which is 10 ply, and I'm using cherry red, and then I'm using green. And then we're using such a tiny little bit for the center in gold. So just a little tiny scrap of that in the middle. You could put a button in there, you could put some type of other embellishment in there if you didn't want to crochet a center, but I did, and so I used just a little tiny bit of the gold. Also, for the hook size we are going to use is an H size hook, which is 5 millimeters, so make sure you have that handy, as well as a scissors and a yarn needle for cutting our yarn and sewing in all of our ends, because we are making these petals separately, all separate pieces, and then we're going to be sewing them, so your yarn needle is going to come in handy in this project. Before we start, I do want to mention to make sure you check out all the links in the description of this video. I'll have the link to my blog where you can find out where to get the written pattern for this project. There's also a link to my Facebook, so make sure you join me there, and if you make this, share your photos and get inspiration from other crocheters as well. Also check out my Instagram, and if you post a photo on there, make sure you hashtag YARNutopia so I can see your fabulous work. And then follow me on Snapchat as well to see behind the scenes clips of what I like to do on my free time when I'm not crocheting or when I am. I get a lot of comments on my nail polish, so I want to make sure you see what kind of nail polish I'm using today. This is Sinful Colors, and the color today is called Ruby 369, so make sure that you have that if you want to make your nails look as pretty as mine. And lastly, make sure you subscribe to my channel here on YouTube so that you can get notifications on when I put new videos out. I try to get 1 or 2 out every week. So let's just get started in making this beautiful poinsettia. Okay, we're going to start out making the smaller leaves in the center first, the tiny leaves. So start off with green and make a slip knot. So put the short end over the long end, fold that down, and then pull that through and pull tight. Insert your hook, and we're ready to go. So now we have to chain 8. So yarn over, pull through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then in the second chain from the hook, we are going to slip stitch in there. But for this whole project, on all of my chains, I am going to work on my chain like this, where I'm going to turn it toward me and then work in these back ridges here, okay? On all the petals that we are going, the petals and the leaves that we are making, we're going to work in the back ridges because we're working along this edge, and then we're going to come back around and work along this side of the chain as well. So I'll show you how to do that. So in the second chain from the hook, we need to slip stitch. So the loop that's on your hook never counts as anything, so count 1 and 2. Insert your hook right in there, yarn over, pull through, and pull through that loop on your hook. Okay, that's a slip stitch. Now in the next chain, we need to put a single crochet. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over and pull through both loops that are on your hook. That's a single crochet. Now in the next stitch, we are going to half double crochet. So yarn over, go into that chain, yarn over, pull that through, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. Okay, that's a half double crochet. And now in the next stitch, we are going to put a double crochet. So yarn over, go into the next chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops on your hook. That's a double crochet. Now in the next stitch we're going to make a half double crochet, so remember we're going to yarn over, go into that chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook. That's a half double crochet. Then in the next stitch we're going to single crochet, so insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both loops on your hook. And then in the last chain here we're going to slip stitch, but don't slip stitch so tight, so just insert your hook into that chain, yarn over, pull through, and pull through, but not so tight, just pull through that. Now we are going to chain 1 and turn it so we're looking at it like this, so just turning it upside down. And we are going to slip stitch into this first stitch here. So we're working on our foundation row here still. So insert your hook, and I'm also going to work over the top of my straggler there, so that gets sewn in right away so I don't have to sew in my ends later. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, and through. So basically in this last space here we did a slip stitch, a chain 1, and a slip stitch all in that same spot right there. Now going on to the next stitch, we are going to single crochet in there. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and pull through 2. Then half double crochet in the next, so yarn over, go into that stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook. Then in the next stitch we are going to double crochet, so yarn over, go into that stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops. And then in the next stitch we are going to half double crochet, and in the next stitch we are going to single crochet, and then in the very last stitch we are going to slip stitch. So just insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, and through. And then to fasten off I usually just chain up 1 and cut your yarn long because we will be using it for sewing. So then pull that all the way through and pull tight, and you can cut your straggler because we crocheted over the top of it. So it's all hidden in there. Stretch that out, and there is one of the petals. So now rewind this segment and make 4 more of these, so you have 5 in total, and then we will go on to making the medium-sized petals in red. For the medium-sized petals I'm using red, and we just need to start off with a slip knot, so put your short end over the long end, fold that down, and then pull that through and pull tight. Okay, and insert your hook, and we're ready to go. So for this one we need to chain 13. So yarn over, pull through, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. And now in the second chain from the hook, you can see how I turned that toward me. Like I said earlier, I'm going to work in these back ridges. In the second chain from the hook, we are going to slip stitch. So the loop that's on your hook doesn't count as anything, so count 1 and 2, and right in here, we're going to insert our hook, yarn over, pull through, and pull through. That's a slip stitch. Then in the next chain, we are going to single crochet. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Then in the next chain we are going to put another single crochet. So insert your hook in the next chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. In the next chain we are going to half double crochet. So yarn over, go into that chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook. And we're going to half double crochet in the next chain, so yarn over, go into that next chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Then in the next 4 chains we are going to put 1 double crochet in each of those. So yarn over, go into the next chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. That's our double crochet. So that was 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you should have 3 chains left. And in the next chain, we're going to half double crochet. So yarn over, go into that next chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. We are going to single crochet in the next chain, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And then in this last chain, we are going to slip stitch, chain 1, and slip stitch. So, while I'm doing that, I'm going to turn this upside down like this and start working on this foundation row. So insert your hook in that last chain, yarn over, pull through and through. Okay, I'm also going to move my straggler. So we're going to chain 1, turn it, and go back into that stitch right there, and yarn over and pull through and through. Okay, that's another slip stitch. Now in the next stitch we are going to single crochet, so insert your hook. I'm going to crochet over my straggler, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Then half double crochet in the next, so yarn over, go into that stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. And in the next 4 stitches, we are going to double crochet. So yarn over, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And in the next one, double crochet, next one, double crochet, and next one, double crochet. Now, in these last few stitches, we're going to put a half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. So 1 in here, and then 1 in this next one. Okay. And then we're going to put a single crochet in the next 2 stitches. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And in the next one. And then in the last stitch, we are going to simply slip stitch. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, and through. To fasten off, I just like to chain up 1, cut your yarn long. Like I said earlier, we are going to use that for sewing, and then just pull that all the way through and pull tight. Okay, so now rewind this segment and make 4 more of these, so you have a total of 5. And then we'll go on to making the large petals, again in red. Alright, for the large petal, I'm going to use red here. We need to make a slip knot, which I've showed you already how to do. Okay, and now the beginning of it is essentially the same as the medium size, and then we're actually going to make another round to make it larger. So chain 13, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. And in the second chain from the hook, we need to slip stitch. So go into there, slip stitch, yarn over, pull through, and through. Then single crochet into the next chain. Then single crochet into the next chain. Then half double crochet in the next chain, and half double crochet in the next chain, and then double crochet in the next 4 chains. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you should have 3 chains left. We are going to put a half double crochet in the next chain, single crochet in the next chain, and then slip stitch into the last chain. Then we're going to chain 1, and turn this upside down like this. So we're working on our foundation row here, and I'm going to crochet over the top of my straggler so I don't have to sew it in later. And we're going to slip stitch right back into that same stitch right there. Just slip stitch in there. Then in this next stitch right here, we are going to single crochet. Okay, then in the next stitch, we are going to half double crochet. And in the next 4 stitches, we are going to put 1 double crochet in each of those. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. And now we're going to put a half double crochet in the next stitch, and a half double crochet in the next stitch. So now you should have 3 stitches left. We are going to single crochet in the next stitch, and single crochet in the next stitch, and then we're going to slip stitch into the beginning, just like that. Okay, so this is essentially the medium-sized petal. So now we are going to go into round 2 and make this larger for the large petal. So chain 1, and returning this like this again, so we're working in the rounds. And in this first stitch right here, we're going to slip stitch, basically just repeating round 1. So slip stitch in the first stitch, single crochet once in the next 2 stitches, then 1 half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. Then we are going to double crochet once in the next 4 stitches. So put 1 double crochet in each of those. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then we are going to half double crochet in the next stitch, and single crochet in the next stitch, and then slip stitch in the next stitch. Now we're going to skip over this chain 1 space, but we're going to chain 1, skip over this chain 1 space right here, go into this next stitch for a slip stitch. So yarn over, pull through and through. Single crochet in the next stitch, half double crochet in the next stitch, put a 1 double crochet in the next 4 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we are going to put 1 half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. So 1 and 2. And then put 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches. So 1 and 1 there. Okay. And then slip stitch in this last stitch here. And then in this chain 1 space right here, we're just going to slip stitch as well. And then fasten off. I like to just chain up 1, cut your yarn long for sewing, and then pull that all the way through and pull tight. And there you have your large petal. So make 6 more of these, so you have 7 of these in total in red, and then make 3 of these large ones in green. So you have 3 in total in green and 7 in total in red. For the large petals. And then once you have all your petals done, the small, medium, and large, I'll meet you up and we will sew all these pieces together. Alright, at this point we are going to sew our pieces together, and let me get my picture up here so I can have a template. There we go. And we want to start from the bottom layer and work our way up. So we're going to use the 3 large green petals first, and what we're going to do is sew them together. Now I said you could have long strands for all of them when you fastened off, but you may just need one long strand, and then we could just sew in those other ends, but we'll see how this works. So position them how you would like. So I think I want them like this. Okay, and then go just back and forth around some stitches just to sew them together. And I'm just whip stitching. I'm not doing anything fancy because nobody is going to see this underneath everything. And once we do the middle part as well, the yellow middle will be our last thing that we do, and that is not going to be an issue at all because it's going to cover this entire center piece area. So just sew this on, or together here, just like that. Okay, and if that's how you want it to look, then we can fasten this off. And to do that, I just go around a few stitches, just like this. Let me get those out of the way. Okay, so I went around a few stitches like this, and then just go underneath the loop and pull tight. Okay, and then we're just going to sew in our ends by just putting this underneath a few stitches and making sure that it is secure, just like that. And then I'm going to sew in these other two strands. I ended up not even using those. This was super simple to sew together. And I'm just going to sew those underneath a couple of strands as well. And you could use, these two yarns together to sew together so that it is reinforced and thicker, but it may be a little bit more difficult to get through the stitches. So you really got to be careful there. And then once you're ready to fasten off, you could just cut your yarn and toss that aside. And there is our first layer. Okay, so now we have these done. Now we want to get our large red petals ready, 7 of these, and we are going to just position them how we want them. So we want one here. Let's see, we want a layer of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 down below here. So we have one here and one here. And one here. And one here. Basically, wherever it fits is where you want it. So we're just going to make it like this in a circle and layer them around. Okay, so some are going to be, connected in the dead center, and then some of these are going to be out here, like this. Okay, so I'm going to sew this all together, and I'll start by showing you. Just take one of the strands here from one petal and yarn your needle and just start to whip stitch it to another petal and kind of layer it. So it's not completely perfect, because no flower is ever perfect. So there's that. Okay, and then you just move down the line. So now I'm yarning with this new petal here, and gonna start sewing it to this petal here. Okay, and I'm just wrapping around 3 or 4 times, and then moving on to the next one. And then once I have all my petals secure, then I'll fasten these off. But I just want to make sure that I have them exactly how I want them before fastening off on all of these. So let me just make sure that's how I want it to look. Okay, then this one I want to go right here. And like I said, you can layer it on top of this. So this is how this one's going to go. Now I'm going to go back and forth through the stitches. Just like that. Okay, so that one is secure. Okay, and I'll take this one and yarn my needle with this one. And I think I want to put this petal right here. Okay. And then I'll go back and forth. So you can either whip stitch or you can go back and forth. On your petals there. Okay. So just sew them on, you know, just like this. Sew your petals together, and then we will sew these red petals to the green petals, and then we'll put on the medium petals after. Alright, so I've sewed all these on, and I kind of repositioned them off camera and then sewed them all together. And in the back, I'll turn this over so you can see, I ended up just taking all the strands and tying a knot and then cutting this. That was it. Like, I didn't even sew in those ends. So, and then I didn't sew this in, because when I sew it, I took one strand, so I took 6 strands and tied a knot, and then I took the one strand and I'm going to use this strand to sew it to the green petals here. So I want to make sure that I position this the way I want it to be on those green petals. Okay, make sure I can see the green petals. Okay. And then, once it is where I want it to be, I need to see, okay, so this is the part where I did not sew this part on, which I'm going to do right now by turning this upside down. And I'm going to sew it onto this piece. We're just going to go in and out of some stitches. Just like that. And then I'm going to sew this together. Okay, and then I'm going to fasten off because my yarn is getting short by just tying a few knots around some stitches. And then sewing those ends in underneath some of the stitches. Stretching that out and cutting that straggler. Okay, so there we go. We have layer 2 done. So that's what it looks like. So now we are going to add layer 3, which are these red medium-sized petals. And there's only 5 of these, so these are going to go in the middle here, around. But what we're going to do first is get our yarn needle, take one strand, one petal, okay, and take the second petal. And I found it really easy to just whip stitch these like this. Okay, around like 3 or 4 stitches. Okay, and then go back to the back side like that. Okay, then pick up another petal and yarn your needle with that new petal. Okay, so pick up the grouping here and just keep adding new petals by whip stitching with 2 or 3 stitches and then going back in to the opposite side. Okay, adding a new one. Okay, so now I'm just going to add to the center so there's no like big opening or weird space kind of thing. Oops. There we go. And one more. Okay, and then I have one left, which will go right here. And you want to make sure that these go more in a circle. So it'll be like this on your, oh yeah, that looks cool. Okay, so I'm going to do the last petal here, and then I'll show you, or actually just stick with me because I'll show you how to sew it on both sides of this here. Okay, so I'm whip stitching on one side, and then we're going to want to connect to the other side as well. So grab this yarn now on our first petal, and whip stitch with that one. Okay, looks kind of like a starfish. So now we can set this onto our poinsettia here, just like that. So that's how it's going to look. So what we're going to do, I'm going to do exactly what I did with the other one, and that is taking one strand and leaving it out, and then grabbing all the rest of the strands, and then tying a knot, similar to how we would tie slip knots, but we're going to pull all the way through, and pull tight, and then cut that short, stretch it out, and there you have it. Okay, so now let's make sure we can see our green petals here. There we go. So now, taking this one strand that we left out, we are going to sew this all together. So all 3 layers. So we're going to go in all the way through. And we're just going to go all the way around. By going back and forth, just like this. Okay? And then once I have this all sewn on, we can attach the green petals, and we are almost finished. Alright, so now we just finished layer 3 here, and now we want to attach these green leaves to the top around here. And we want to position them between these petals on layer 3. So right here is where one would be, then right here would be where another one would be. And I think to get the best positioning, we're going to attach these singly to the whole piece. And by that, I mean by adding this one right here, one at a time, so going all the way through, and just going back and forth, just like this, and just adding this one, and you want it semi-close, even though that yellow middle will be covering it, which we're going to make after this, but you want it semi-close to look like they are attached. So just go back and forth, and then you want to end on this side, on the back side, because we will be fastening off back there. Okay, so adding number 3 here, and just making sure that they are between these petals then, right here. Okay, so I'm just going to add all of these, and then I'll show you how I'm going to fasten off, and then we'll make the middle, and we'll be done. Alright, so I just sewed these on individually like this, and on the back I ended up taking all of them kind of like how we did the other layer where we tied a knot, and then I just sewed in all those ends underneath layers 1 and 2, and you can't even see my stragglers, which is awesome. So it's all sewn together, and now we're just going to make the middle yellow piece that goes in the center there, and then our poinsettia will be complete. So get gold yarn or a yellow yarn and make a slip knot, and start out by chaining 2, yarn over, pull through, 1 and 2, and let's, in the second chain from the hook, put 6 single crochets in there. So go into there, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, go in there, so that's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and we are going to work in continuous rounds, so no need to even slip stitch to the beginning. If you want to, you can slip stitch to the beginning, single crochet, and chain up 1 and go on to round 2, but I am going to work in a complete spiral, and we're only going to work in the back loops only. So usually we work through both loops like this, but we are actually going to work through the back loop only, which is right here. So back loop only, back loop only. So we're going to go into this first one here for 2 single crochets in each stitch around. So go in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, go back into that same stitch and make another single crochet. And we're going to put 2 single crochets in each stitch all the way around in the back loop only. And at the end of this round you will have 12 single crochets. So that's 6, 8, 10, and 12. Okay, so at this point I'm going to check and see if that is big enough, and oh, that does look big enough to me. I'm satisfied with that size. So now to fasten off, we are going to go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, and through for a slip stitch, then yarn over and pull through to chain up 1 and fasten off with a long tail so we can sew that right onto our piece and pull that all the way through. Pull tight, and then hide that straggler underneath there. Yarn your needle with your long strand, and then just go through all the layers. All the way around. Okay, and then if you want to, you can just go through some layers and go back and forth just like this. So you don't have to even go through all the layers. Okay, and just make sure it stays its circular shape. Okay, and once that's fastened on, then we can just fasten off by going underneath a few stitches in the back and making a few knots. Okay, and then weave in our end underneath some of the layers and cut that off. And there you have it. So now at this point, because these are kind of curling up, you could block this, and to block it, what you would do is put this on a towel and on a foam piece of board, or some type of foam piece would be nice. But if you don't, just layer your towels. You can put 3 or 4 layers of towels down, and then take some sewing pins, some sewing needles, and then pin down each of these corners and how you want this to be, and you can pin down these petals as well. And then spray it with some water. You can do a sugar water mixture, which you can look up online on how to block items. Just spray it, douse it in that, and then let it dry, and it should dry perfectly flat like this. And then you'll have a lovely poinsettia. So this could be great for a centerpiece. It could be great for a decoration. You can put these on a wreath. You can make a bunch of these and put them on wreaths. You can, do so many things with this. So, you can put this as a bow on a present. You can have these around, like I said, centerpiece, but you can also put this around the buffet table at Thanksgiving or at Christmas time. The buffet table will you can decorate your buffet table with some type of crochet poinsettias like this, or there's so many things you can do with them. So get creative, and I want to see all your poinsettias and what you do with them, and leave a comment on what else you think you can do with these poinsettias. They're so much fun to make and so pretty at the end. But thank you so much for watching. Make sure to check out all the links in the description of this video. I'll have the link to my blog, where you can find out where to get the written pattern for this project. Also, there's a link to my Facebook, so make sure you join me on Facebook and share a picture and get inspiration from other crocheters. Our community is growing so fast, so thank you so much for all the support. Make sure to check out my Instagram as well, and follow me on Snapchat so you can see my behind-the-scenes footage and things I like to do on my off time. And also, if you do post a picture of this, make sure you hashtag YARNutopia so I can see your work. I would love to see it, on Instagram and everything. Subscribe to my channel here on YouTube as well. So I just want to thank our videographer and photographer and editor of this video, Fuad Azmat, for taking the time out to make this video with us. Thank you so much, and happy hooking, everybody!